Coming up from the Northeast Live Studios in Guwahati, Northeast Tonight with Wasbir Hussain.
Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. Voting for the second phase of the Assam elections ended this evening with an estimated 80% turnout, although the exact voting percentage would be known slightly later. Polling was calm and peaceful in all the 39 constituencies except a few incidents, including a firing incident in Sonai constituency in Cachar district. But the election atmospherics continued to be dominated by a blistering war of words among the main contenders. The Congress AIUDF Mahajot was at the receiving end throughout the day over AIUDF Chief Badruddin Ajmal getting agitated in public yesterday, during which he was seen hurling the Assamese gamosa at one of his supporters on the dais. From Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Assam BJP's poll mascot Himanta Biswa Sharma, there were many who condemned Ajmal's action. Prime Minister Modi said at a rally in Kokrajhar that Ajmal insulted the Assamese people by his act of publicly throwing the gamusa, which was a symbol of Assamese pride. Apart from the 15 Barak Valley seats, the focus has been on the 5 seats in the 2 hill districts, Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao, and the 4 BTR seats, Paneri, Majbat, Udalguri and Kolaigaon, besides minority-dominated constituencies in central Assam's Nagaon and Morigaon districts. The big question is whether the BJP would be able to repeat its 2016 performance of winning 22 of these 39 seats. This question is being primarily asked because, unlike in 2016, the Congress and the AIUDF have come together this time and fighting as the Mahajot. To try and decode phase 2 of the Assam elections, I am joined by former MP Mr. Kirip Chaliha. Assam BJP spokesperson Janki Goswami is also with me. Also joining me is State Congress spokesman Netro Ranjan Chaudhary. I also have Dr. Prasenjit Biswas, Professor Northeastern University and commentator. Also joining me is Professor Jaideep Biswas, Professor in Cachar College, joining me from Silchar. And with me as well is Dr. Rajiv Hendik, Professor Guwahati University and a political analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Northeast Tonight. The big question, Mr. Kirip Chaliha, this has been a very keenly fought election. In 2016, the BJP had won 22 of these 39 seats that had gone to the polls this time, polls today actually. And the question is, what is your gut feeling? What is your assessment from ground reports? Do you think the BJP will be able to make a repeat performance of 22 that it got in 2016? I'm asking this question, as I said, primarily because the Congress and the AIUDF have come together this time.
Well, our first assessment has to be made on the basis of the voting percentage. Voting percentage has been
75 to 80%.
Expectedly high. Now, as I said last time, I'm still at a loss to find out whether this is an anti-incumbency vote or this is a pro-incumbency vote. Because I'm pretty sure, and I am sure all the panelists belonging to all political parties will agree, that this time voters are not extremely extrovert in showing their allegiance. There is an element of undercurrent and there is an element of privacy in their choice. Now, immediately I'll make 2 or 3 observations to provoke my political party supporters of various political parties. Number 1, gut feeling, as you told me, my gut feeling is that it was a very easy election for BJP initially. Everybody thought BJP was just walking away, and it was more or less a formality for BJP to form a government. But the general impression that one is getting now is that BJP has made this election a little tough by themselves. This is something which.
Why? Why do you think?
No, we'll go to the details later. The second point is, I think Badruddin Ajmal, I don't know for good or bad, but I think he has been given a stature, which is, a very, shall I say it is an iconic stature, shall I say that he has been made a big villain, but whatever it is, that stature that he has gained, I think he doesn't deserve that. I'm leaving the conclusions to you all. Number 3, the intense campaign by the Prime Minister and other top dignitaries. The people are also questioning why is it that all of them are so intense and so desperate, in fact, in their campaigns. Congress campaign has been very low campaign, very low. It is not very intense from the central activities of the central leaders. This is giving rise to a feeling that maybe this time low-key campaign may become and turn out to be effective.
Okay.
This is something to be seen.
Right.
These are the
very interesting comments by former MP Mr. Kirit Chalia. He has been in public life for more than 3.5 decades, maybe 4 decades, correct me if I'm wrong. But he has given some very interesting insights. Professor Jaideep Biswas joining me from Silchar. Professor Jaideep Biswas, Mr. Kirit Chalia has made a very interesting comment that Badruddin Ajmal has been given his undue importance this time round, particularly by the BJP, who tried to pinpoint him, made the prime target of attack this time, even more than the Congress. Do you think that is one of the reasons why this election has become tougher for the BJP? That is what Mr. Kirit Chalia has concluded, I presume.
Well, he was, in a way, he was right. On the last occasion also, when I was speaking on your program, you may recall that I told that the way Ajmal has been profiled, the way he has been otherized, the way he has been demonized by the BJP campaign, that actually has gone into give him further impetus for consolidation of the minority votes around the Mahajot. One. Secondly, BJP this time tried to show a kind of an impression to the electorate that they are in for some amount of minority votes also, particularly in the valley, in Barak Valley. But that particular posturing actually has come off of no use, given the kind of attack, the quality of attack, rather I would say. A political attack is always welcome in case of elections, but the way Ajmal has been attacked, the kind of pseudo-racial profiling and all, symbolizing him with a kind of an invader in Assam, these things actually have all gone into help the Mahajot to a considerable extent, not only in the Barak Valley, but as well in the entire central Assam, and I'm sure even in the third phase in the lower Assam as well.
Okay. Now, I'll get a response from the BJP, but Mr. Netraranjan Chaudhary, Congress spokesman, I'm asking you this question that AIUDF is your main ally, one of the primary allies this time in the Mahajot. Do you think the target of attack that the BJP has made Ajmal out to be, do you think that is going to help the Mahajot? As Professor Jaideep Biswas and others are saying now?
Well, definitely, yes. If you see this overall, the elections since beginning, they were not having any fixed agenda. They are not having any development related agendas, unlike 2016. So, only the agenda BJP using since beginning was the religious polarizations, and they were targeting Ajmal. If you see who is actually creating iconic structure, out of him. If you see in Kalaigaon, he was, equated with Modi ji. The slogans were given whether you want to vote for Modi ji or you want to vote for Ajmal, like that. So, who is giving this type of slogan and who is making Ajmal iconic structure? It's purely the BJP. It's actually their desperation, because they don't have any report card development agenda. They want to divert the thing, and they targeted, I think, this religious polarization, and I think that's backfiring them.
Okay. Rajiv Hendik, what do you think?
I think it's true that Badruddin Ajmal has been demonized, but then at the same time, he also had his own shortcomings. There were a few hiccups actually, which embarrassed the coalition, the Mahajot. He has spoken, something communal at places, and yesterday he actually did something which could be actually projected as, as dishonoring the Gamucha, which was actually effectively, perhaps we don't know what the outcome will be, but they got
The
the
Gamusa
opportunity.
controversy, yes.
Yeah, they got the opportunity to actually, use that as a tool of campaigning. So what I mean to say is that Badruddin Azmal, he got the importance, perhaps more than, as scripturally has said, perhaps more than he deserved. But at the same time, he gave it away. He could have actually emerged by using that opportunity, by doing things which, bereft of the hiccups, bereft of the shortcomings,
So,
bereft of
so
the
Ajmal,
controversies.
you are
that
also
he
saying
caught
that
himself
you are
in.
also saying that it's not a great idea to target one man, but Ajmal also has his shortcomings. That's what Dr. Rajiv Hendik is saying. A response from you, Janki Goswami, spokesperson of the Assam BJP. Why is it that you are giving so much of importance to Badruddin Ajmal? Why is it Ajmal? So that is why Ajmal has also once said, oh, I am a very big man, I am the most important person in Assam today, from the Prime Minister to everybody is taking my name. That's what he has been going around saying because he has got an opportunity to do so.
See, today is a situation when we have to talk about Ajmal, especially because the Congress chose to ally with a party which has a separate and conspicuous and a very unique identity. Had Congress not chosen to ally with that kind of a party, we would have probably not spoken about him. Now, when we speak about him, it is not about glorifying him. We are not at all trying to glorify Ajmal, but we are de-glorifying Ajmal by exposing his real face. What we are trying to do is we are trying to expose the malicious intent of the Congress and IIUDF combined. If you see his actions itself speaks volumes of how conspicuously he has been behaving in the last few days after they had decided to ally. If you talk about the dishonoring the Gamusha yesterday, if you talk about his speech where he clearly said he represents the lock and key, and he said in his speech, their party represents the lock and key, that is their symbol, and he said in his speech that the lock and key of this Mahajot is going to be in our hands.
True.
He is going to decide. ऊपर अल्लाह है, नीचे वो है. So it is. We are not at all trying to glorify him. We are trying to expose his real face. And look at the Congress.
Let us listen to Susmita Dev's bite today.
Just let me finish once. Our leader Smriti Irani, when she had last visited, she had clearly made a remark. Dubte ko tinke ka sahara. That is what the Congress has done. They have taken. They are actually not confident of fighting these elections alone. That's why they have taken the support of a party like Ajmal's party.
You are saying, Janki Goswami, that Ajmal has said that, Tala chabi mera saath hai, jo sarkar banega chabi mera paas hai.
But today,
Ajmal was in a controversy. Let's listen into that controversy where the Prime Minister and Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma also talked about. Let's have these visuals of Ajmal throwing the gamusa at his own supporters at the public rally. We can have these visuals and then listen to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, what he had said about this incident, as well as Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma.
कल एक वीडियो में पूरे असम ने देखा है कि कैसे असम की पहचान, असम की बहनों के श्रम के प्रतीक, यहां की एक पहचान गमोसा का सरेआम अपमान किया गया। असम को प्यार करने वाला हर व्यक्ति इन तस्वीरों को देखकर बहुत आहत है, बहुत गुस्से में है। कांग्रेस के नेता बार बार कहते हैं ये ताला चाबी वाले असम की पहचान है। कांग्रेस के झूठ, उसकी साजिश को समझिए। सत्ता में वापसी के लिए कांग्रेस इन लोगों के सामने समर्पण कर चुकी है। इस अपमान की सजा कांग्रेस को तो मिलेगी ही, इस पूरे महाझूठ को मिलेगी।
All right. Now, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma also said in response to Ajmal's actions. Let's listen in.
ৰাইজ অসমৰ পৰিৱেশ সলনি হৈ গৈ আছে। যোৱাকালি আপোনালোকে দেখিছে যে আজমলে কেনেকৈ গামোচাখন দলিয়াই দিছে। গামোচা দলিয়াই দিয়াত মই ভুল নেদেখো। মোৰটো খন্দে হয় আজমলক গামোচা পিন্ধাইছিল কিয়? গামোচা পিন্ধাৰ হি উপযুক্ত নেকি আপোনালোকে কওকচোন? এটা টিভিয়ে কৈ আছে আজমল বেয়া তেওঁ গামোচাখন এনেকুৱা কৰিলে। মই কৈছো নহয়, আজমলতকৈ দুখ হৈছে এই বাপতি খাহুন গামোচাখন তেওঁৰ ডিঙিত পিন্ধালে কোনে? তাকহে ধৰিব লাগে প্ৰথম যে তই কিয় পিন্ধালি এখন?
All right. All right. So these are two sharp responses coming, and this has almost become an election issue in the third phase of the elections. That is what you were saying, Rajiv Hendik. Third phase of the elections, this has become an issue, and the attack is going to become more intense in the coming days. And that, as you said, he has his shortcomings.
It's true, it's entirely true, but at the same time, it must also be said that there is also the social media which is playing out the entire thing, and which is also at the same time going viral, as to people are wanting to know actually what has happened.
Absolutely.
And it turns out that it is because of the weather, because of the helicopter that he has used, and because of the short time that he has it in hand, that he wants to actually forego of all these felicitation programs.
No, but that is not the point.
So,
point is, let me
that
turn
is
to
not-
Mr.
yeah,
Krip
you're
Chalia.
right, you are
Hold
right.
on, hold your
Yeah.
thoughts. Mr. Krip Chalia, you have been in public life for 3.5 decades or more. Now, don't you think that a public leader cannot express his emotions, he cannot get angry in full public view and behave in such a manner?
See, public leaders like Nehruji are very strong tempered. Indiraji also got angry. So there are times when public leaders are told they are human beings. But to expect, I think, exceptional statesman-like behavior from somebody like Badruddin Ajmal, as I say, it's not a question of whether somebody is getting electoral advantage out of that. That was not my focus. I said he doesn't deserve of being a symbol of Assam selection. If he is, instead of him, the issue should have been the foreigners, presence of foreigners, whether they will be expelled or not. Those are the issues.
My question was generic. My question was general. Do you expect, can public leaders behave like this in full public view? I am not asking about Ajmal.
I don't think any show of expression is proper. But on the other side also, those niceties are no longer there. You see, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, I could see him demolishing his opponents with so much of humor and sarcasm, with softness. Nowadays, those days are over. Now you don't expect that. Now, of course, Himanta has brought in a new culture, which is a good culture. At least you are dancing during elections. And there has not been too much of electoral fights till now and conflicts till now. I agree to that. But the point is, I think, some or other, my impression is, and I may be outcast, considered an outcast for that. I have a feeling that due seriousness is not being given to so many other things. And I think that is part of the malaise of normal deterioration that takes place. But that is not for us to comment, because many people will say that, well, now that you are not an MP, so you find faults. So, but what I am saying is, I am coming to the crux of the matter. As I said, that it was a very, very easy election where the BJP was a clear front runner. Now suddenly the gap is now appears to be closing in.
Very quickly,
I know also, but I know I can't write off the BJP because they have so many cards even after the election.
Netro, you want to speak?
A very quick response. So yes, I do agree to your concern that any public leader should at least restrain his public behavior, and because they are the actually role models, they are representing people. So definitely, we should control our emotions. So this is applicable for any party. But having said that, we haven't seen only this type of incidents. Of course, we don't know what was the context and why it happened. But then, of course, I think AIDF people can better explain.
No, is that important why it happened?
No. Also, we have.
Is that important why it happened? It happened.
No, it happened. We have seen. This is a reality. We have seen. But then we have also seen people standing on Gamocha. Many prominent BJP leaders also have done it on different occasions. So let me also remind people that they have also done equal, damage to this, Gamocha.
I don't think anything.
So another thing.
I don't think such misdemeanor had taken place.
But then, while we are
But
focusing on
Ajmal's
Gamocha,
behavior-
ma'am, just
yes.
1 minute. While we are focusing on these things, I think we are also ignoring another public behavior that is going viral today, and how openly and knowingly a person is abusing a journalist, and it's like a street fighter. So I think that is also equally condemnable.
What about those visuals on the screen? See that. Look at that. Just look at that. Now, let's not go into that. Yes, but at the end of the day, we'll all agree that public leaders are not supposed to behave in this way. Yes, Janki wanted to say something.
No, he was mentioning about some misdemeanor being conducted by our BJP members. I don't remember anything as such happening. But when it comes to Ajmal's behavior, I think what better was expected? Any better was not expected from him, because when a person can hold up an Arabic banner, when a person can say that when BJP comes to power, we are going to demolish all masjids. So what better can we expect from him? How can we expect that he is going to have any respect for our regional pride, the Gamocha?
Let's go to Jaideep Biswas in.
And another thing I want to say here, that everybody is asking one question, that why is he the topic of discussion? I think that question should go, he is definitely a topic of discussion because he is a part of the combined Mahajot. That's why he is a part of the discussion for us.
No, we
Right.
also want to
He is part of
discuss
the
why a
opposition.
responsible minister is
We have
threatening
to.
journalists
He is a
over
part
phone.
because opposition for us represents Congress and AIODF. So
Okay,
it is a matter of
that-
discussion.
that-
And even if he has been allotted 14 seats, these are the decisive
Now
seats
let
for them.
us look at that Susmita White, Susmita Deb Bite. Now that specific bite on when she said yes. Let's listen into that.
I don't believe a party, a alliance partner, which is contesting only in 14 seats. I mean, Manush, intelligent people are can a party which is contesting in only 14 seats out of 126 control a government?
So that is what is the question being asked by Congress leader Susmita Deb. But Jaideep Biswas, Barak Valley has been the focus this time round. We have experienced about 75 to 80% polling today. Now, in 2016, BJP got 8 seats. That was when the Congress and the AIODF fought separately. Now, I asked you this question yesterday or day before yesterday. Now, the question is 75% polling. What do you think? Will the BJP be able to make a repeat performance? Because the BJP says it's not always arithmetic, but it's chemistry that will work this time around.
Continuously being changed and chemistry is being manufactured as well. As you guys have been talking about this whole Ajmal incident of throwing Gamosa, let me just make 2 quick points before I straight away enter your question. The first thing is that what Ajmal did was an error. There is no doubt about that. But I think that was an unforced error. Secondly, Gamocha is definitely the embodiment of the Assamese culture. It is the embodiment of the composite culture of Assam. There is absolutely no doubt of that. And anyone showing any disrespect that too in the public definitely is a heinous crime. I mean, there is no doubt about that. Having said that, we also need to bear in mind that making Gamosa an object of political debate, as is being done by the BJP, also is not a very good thing and not a good way of showing respect to the Gamosa. Now, why such things are being done? Because this is the simplest way where you can draw the cleavage. This is the simplest way where you can make the division. Because as I said earlier, Wasbir, you can recall that the more you make Ajmal a villain, the more you demonize him, actually he becomes more powerful. I have got no respect for Ajmal kind of politics, because that kind of politics which is based on a particular religious identity, it never helps the political culture, it never helps the state of Assam. Having said that, we also have to take note of the fact that Ajmal and Ajmal's politics actually helps BJP the most, because BJP gets that coup from the Ajmal, and this is exactly how BJP gets the opportunity to go for further consolidations, if not polarization of the majority votes around them. Now coming to your specific question.
Yeah.
Now coming to your specific question for the Barakvali, that BJP got 8 seats last time around in 2016. Can they make the performance the same level of performance this time around? First of all, saying yes or no in a slightly difficult, but the ground reality tells us that it's indeed difficult for the BJP to repeat the performance, because of course of the coalition, of course of the alliance. And I still stick to the point I made on the last occasion on your show, that chemistry is not going to work much this time around, but arithmetic will. And
we'll have to wait. We'll wait for that. Jaideep Biswas, I'll come back to you. I will expand on this debate, take a response from Janaki Goswami as well. But at this point in time, I am joined from Nagaon by Jitu Goswami, the BJP candidate from Berhampur. Jitu Goswami, welcome to Northeast Tonight. Let's go to Jitu Goswami. I'm told that he is online. We're connected. Okay. Where is Jitu Goswami on the screen?
Next to Henry.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Jitu Goswami, welcome. The point, Mr. Jitu Goswami, is that, you are in the headlines because you are contesting from a very important seat as the BJP candidate this time. This, as I asked you in the morning, this has been a traditional seat of a very veteran political leader of Assam, Mr. Prafulla Kumar Mohanty. He has not only been holding that seat since 1985, but Prafulla Mohanty has been well known even before that as the leader of the All Assam Students Union, who led the 6-year-long anti-foreigner uprising in Assam. My question is, now that the polling has ended, what is the sense you are getting? Do you think all his supporters have voted for you? What is your feeling now?
Yeah, no doubt Berhampur is a very prestigious seat. Last 35 years, it is a big, for Assam Gana Parishad, Prafulla Kumar Mohanty was representing this seat from the last 30 years. And it is totally, first it was Girin Borua who was first MLA from AGP. This altogether for 35 years, AGP is representing this seat. And Prafulla Mohanty is 7th time he has owned this seat from Berhampur. And no doubt it's a very prestigious seat. We're proud of that from Berhampur. And this time, because of his illness of health, the ticket was given to me. Now, I have seen all AGP and BJP workers together. They have supported nicely. Today, around 80% voters were turn out today. And it's a very nice, because I visited all the polling station today. And it's really is a overwhelming response. What I say, this time we are going to get a record margin, which is you cannot even imagine from the last 5-6 elections.
During the last 1 month, when the campaign intensified, Mr. Jitu Goswami, have you had the occasion to meet Mr. Prafulla Kumar Mohanty, or at least speak to him on the phone at all, or do you think he was too, his health did not permit you to do so?
No, he is not in Assam. He is in AIIMS, because doctors advise him to take rest. But I have contacted his family. I contacted to Madam Joyashree Goswami, and I contacted their nearest family members also. And then I think they have a very good support, and they are all the workers from AGP, all the local leaders, all the constituency level leaders are with me. No one single leader has left the parties, and I manage them in nice way, because they have already worked with Prafulla Kumar Mohanty for 35 years, and then it's a big long time. First time it was little bit of upset of some workers was there, because how we'll handle them. But we have managed in our local level, and now today all the leaders are with us, and all the support of the leaders, what I can expect, will do the very good results from Berhampur. And AGP BJP alliances it will be worked out. Last 5 years we have worked out, and another 5 years of this government will work nicely with the all alliance partner.
Now, slightly different question to you, Mr. Jitu Goswami. You are from Nagaon. You have been doing, you know the district very well. Now, that is also a district that has a considerable minority population, and in and around the Nagaon and the twin districts, if I may use the word, Morigaon as well. Now, we are discussing the controversy of Badruddin Ajmal. Our panelists have been saying that the more you attack Badruddin Ajmal, the more popular he becomes, and and if there is a consolidation on the one side, there is also a polarization on the other side. That Ajmal supporters also gets polarized the more he is attacked. Now, since you are from Nagaon district, which has a sizable minority population, what do you think on this issue?
No, see, Ajmal is not playing with the Assamese sentiment. Is for first time. He always plays with the Assamese sentiment. Last time also he just stand in the gamusa and did his namaz. This time he throws this gamusa. Ajmal is always playing with Assamese sentiment because he knows, because he doesn't have to care the Assamese vote bank. He knows that he has a limited vote banks, what he can play the key role. Party like Congress was supported for their minority basis, because Congress is playing the politics because of their target is only to win the election and targeted the minority vote banks. That's why people like Ajmal will always play with the sentiment of Assamese people. They knows that staying in Assam, they have a fixed vote banks. They know that in Jamunamok areas, they knows that if they throws the gamusa also they will win. They know in Dhing, if they throws the gamusa also they will win. This kind of thinking with them.
Okay, let me
really know.
Yeah. I'll request you to stay on for some more time, Mr. Jitu Goswami. Very interesting comments you are making. Let me take this to Rajiv Hendik. Rajiv Hendik, you have heard Mr. Jitu Goswami making a very important point. He says that Badruddin Ajmal, or for that matter the AIUDF, is not in need of the Assamese votes. Therefore, his allegation is that the charge which Mr. Jitu Goswami is making, that Badruddin Ajmal has doesn't care about the Assamese vote bank because it doesn't need them.
Actually, you see, it seems he is actually playing to the gallery at that point of time. And as I've said, actually, it is a context. The context, I have seen the entire video where it happened. He was angry for some other reason, but then he came out with doing this. It is very unfortunate. He should not have done it. But then he was trying to actually do away with the felicitation program entirely. Anyway, having said that, the point is, demonizing Ajmal actually it helps BJP to a large extent to garner the votes because it polarizes. And polarizing helps to a large extent to get more and more votes. So that is the point actually. But with Jitu Goswami, he is in a very historic seat. It's a very historic seat. And this election, 2021, will be remembered also for the fading away of Prafulla Kumar Mohanto, Vrindavan Goswami, and the leaders of AGP of that era.
That's a very absolutely. We'll discuss a little bit more on that. Mr. Jitu Goswami and other panelists are requested to stay on. I'll be going for a very short break. When I come back, I'll go to Barak Valley to Professor Jaideep Biswas. I'll come back to Jitu Goswami. And of course, we have our panelist in the studio. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, welcome back. Let me go to you, Mr. Kirit Chaliha. Mr. Kripchalia, basically we are discussing this 39 seats, and in between the electioneering has also picked up for the third and final phase of the Assam elections. Now another aspect which we want to debate today is that the BJP is leaving absolutely no stone unturned, that it is getting opportunity to beat the AIUDF Congress alliance with the opportunity given by leaders like Badruddin Ajmal. That's a different story, but the BJP is not taking chances. Today, this morning, the BJP spokesman was telling me on the show that the Prime Minister has already visited 9 times.
See, as I said, the Assam election was considered to be almost a cakewalk. And even now, you see the top leadership of BJP and compared to the contending Congress party. In Congress party, most of the faces are young faces, new faces. They are new, totally new, and they're fighting the election as an underdog. Now, they had an alliance with AIDF, okay, but with some other regional, so-called regional forces, who I think, the regional forces like Ajit Bhaiya's party have got no support whatsoever. They are only they are trying to exploit the Congress party for that. Even the CPI-CPM that way doesn't have much support. But what I'm saying is that in spite of all that, how come Congress and the Congress-led alliance has suddenly emerging as a contender? Let me tell you, for example, Cachar, Barak Valley. That's a people's perception. I'm not saying that this is happening. Actually, maybe they are sweeping the elections. But the general impression, I'm saying that is the general impression of
because our ground reports are very positive.
I agree. I can't disagree with Janki ji because she has all the information about the BJP. But I am an onlooker, an outsider. As an outsider, I feel that election is becoming tougher. I think what my panelists from Cachar said, that is the information which I was also getting, that the election has become tougher in Barak Valley also for BJP. No, last point. Is it possible, Wasbir, that we are talking about polarization and communal polarization and the attack on Ajmal and all that? Is it a possibility that the minority community votes have polarized, due to which the Mahajut may have an advantage, and that in a similar manner, the majority vote may not have become polarized? That will bring great complications. I still hope. I still think that it may not happen. But suppose it happens, then what happens?
We don't know. I will never predict what happens, because we'll have to wait for 2nd of May. Anything can happen, but that is a fact that anything can happen. But before coming to Janki Goswami, Professor Jaideep Biswas, it's a direct contest this time in the Barak Valley. On one side is the BJP and the other side is either the Congress or the AIUDF. So at the end of the day, it's a direct fight between two forces, pro-Ka and anti-Ka forces. Now, the Citizenship Amendment Act is expected to have had a big impact in the voting behavior today. Now, do you agree or do you not? Because I'm asking this question because Dr. Rajdeep Roy was on the show. He said that CAA is definitely, he agreed when I asked the question whether the CAA is going to benefit the BJP in the Barak Valley. Now, is it a battle between these two forces, or it is not as simple as that? Jaideep Biswas.
Wasbir, is definitely a battle between the two forces, first. As far as the Ka is concerned, yes, the Hindu Bengalis definitely have got a fascination for the Ka. But we are not correct if we say that the Congress is really in a very comfortable position vis-a-vis Ka in the valley, because the pro-Ka and anti-Ka, that kind of binary is not that easy.
We have everybody on the screen, please.
In the valley, because for example, AUDF is anti-Ka, as you know, because from the Ka, Muslims are not getting anything. So the AUDF has quite correctly, they have taken a political stand that they are against the Ka. The Congress has got its problem, because Congress needs votes from all the segments. Congress is an inclusive political formation. So Congress needs votes from the Hindus, from the Muslims, from the tribals, from all other ethnic groups, from all linguistic, religious groups and all. So in the valley also, Congress is really in a beleaguered spot as far as taking a stand on the Ka. So Ka, I don't think, has done much in the elections this time around. NRC exclusion has more than that, more than that, BJP's promise that if they get back to power, they are going to do the NRC from the scratch. That this is definitely a kind of a piece of news which is not very good to the ears of the linguistic and religious minorities in the state and also in the Barak Valley. But surprisingly, what I have seen over these 15 constituencies in the valley, that also hasn't really been used as an issue.
Yes. Janki Goswami, Ka, not a factor. I'm coming to you, Jitu Goswami, right now, immediately after this response from Janki Goswami. Yes. Janki, that Professor J.D. Biswas thinks that Ka has not been a big factor, but NRC correction or the incorrect NRC or the attempt to correct the NRC is going to be an issue, because if this is an issue in the if this had been an issue in the second phase, this is also going to be an issue in the third phase.
See, the Ka, as he has very correctly said, Ka has not been an issue in this phase, especially because if we go by the perception that the Barak Valley is for the Ka, because the Congress always has two stands, one stand here, one stand there, and their stand is that they support Ka. So if we go by that perception, so Ka does not hold that much relevance for this phase. Again, if we go to the Hills district, there also Ka is not a relevant factor because of the 6th schedule factor. Now, it can be deciphered that Ka is not an issue in this second phase. Another thing, NRC again is one chapter which is yet not been, it is not relevant as of now because it has not been disclosed, it has not been implemented, it has not been accepted. So NRC is one factor which people cannot relate to as of now. Because we are talking about not accepting the NRC and we are talking about correction of the NRC through re-verification or whatever method, but we are talking about correction of the NRC, which I feel the people support the idea. Although they cannot much find relevance with the factor because it is not out in the open, so people cannot connect with it. But the fact that we are talking about correction of the NRC and how we are going to do it, we want to eliminate the names which we feel have taken a place in the NRC by illegal methods, and we want to delete those names and include the names of people the genuine people whose names have been left out. That is why the NRC is a welcome step. The correction of the NRC is a welcome step for the people of Assam, and especially for the indigenous people of Assam. So that is going to work in our favor.
I'll go to Jitu Goswami one last time before thanking him. Mr. Jitu Goswami, before going for the break, a panelist said that, this election, we have seen a lot of, protagonists of the Assam agitation. They are not in the fray. Prafulla Kumar Mohanto, Brindaban Goswami, these are the two names which have been taken. Now the question is, you have seen the Assam agitation. I have also seen the Assam, we all have seen, most of us have seen the Assam agitation. We were we were thickly involved in the Assam agitation. The point is, Mr. Jitu Goswami, do you think regionalism, because AGP, Ahom Gana Parishad, is an ally of the BJP, lot of people now want to say that, it is no longer a true regional force. Therefore, a lot of people want to say that regionalism is slowly fading away. What is your take? I know you are the BJP candidate from Berhampur. I am asking you a question on regionalism. I am asking this simply because you are representing a very critical seat.
See, you cannot say that regionalism is going to be fade. Assam Gana Parishad, in our cases in Berhampur constituency, because of illness of health of Prafulla Kumar Mohanto, we got the seat. I don't know the other seats, but thing is that for a long time, with one seat AGP, like Brindaban Goswami in Tezpur, he fought the election for the 5-6 times last, because anti-incumbency is also there, and along with that, their age also a factor, because BJP and AGP, when they have allied and did the ticket finalization, at that time they have surveyed all the seats, which is possibility of winning. Like regionalism is always there in Assam, because today in Assamese sentiment, even in our Berhampur I have seen, all the regional leaders, they have a regional sentiment, but they as long as regional sentiment, they support also Indian nationalism. You know, now things change. You know, AGP allied with BJP for the last 5 years. I had seen they work out. Now their mentality, their thinking process is already allied with BJP, because we are having a Indian sentiments. Nationalism is always there, and regionalism we really support those regionalism who has a national thinking, national ideology. Now, in our cases in Berhampur, I have seen lots of people, the all regional leaders, they've already has a very nice understanding with us for working.
Absolutely.
They have supported us also.
Right. Right. Mr. Jittu Goswami, thank you very much for being on the show. Let me go to you, Mr. Kirit Chalia. Yeah, Janki, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to answer to this question about regionalism.
Yeah.
See, our party is a national party, no doubt, but we are inspired by regional ideology. We have allied with two other parties. One major ally is AGP, which is again a strong regional party with a strong support base. And we have allied with a party which is UPPL, which is again a regional party, but with its own tribal identity. So our combined strength is regionalism.
Netro, you want to say something?
Yeah,
Mr.
definitely. I mean, a lot of things, lot of thoughts. You know, it's been repeatedly said that, you know, Mr. P.K. Mohanta has been, you know, not contesting because of his poor health, but then we all know what sort of treatment he was being provided, you know, and how he was denied. So everybody knows it. I mean, there is no need to discuss here. You know, the sort of humiliations they were providing, and then coming to the BJP, they believe in one nation, one, you know, language, one election. They are, you know, already propagating all these things. So their mood is like parasite.
Which is not
their mood is parasite.
Contrary to regionalism.
This is your mood is parasite. You want some support, and then you will just, you know, eat away like a parasite. And this has been seen in all across India. You know, and AGP is just a recent example in, you know, Assam. Now, coming to your thing, a lot of discussion has already been done about what Ajmal has done, which we have already seen it. There is no denying about it. But then also we have seen how a responsible minister is threatening over phone, and this is also highly condemnable. And then the threatening the political leaders, you know, now through NIA and all, even election commission has also acknowledged this is also very dangerous trend for the democracy.
That is for the
and
election
this is highly
commission. We have got a very strong election commission in this country. It's a statutory body. Election commission will take note of this and decide. Now I'm running short of time. Mr. Kirit Chalia, you know, very interesting things are happening, you know, as we get ourselves ready for the third phase of the election. Now the question is, the BPF candidate from Tamulpur, the BPF, if I'm not mistaken, Tamulpur, right?
Yeah.
BPF candidate from Tamulpur, he just last night, he said that he is not going to contest, he is joining the BJP. Now, these kind of last minute developments, because he has not withdrawn a nomination, his name will definitely be there in the third phase. When on the voting day, his name will be there. People might even vote for him. But basically, you know, what is going to happen?
Vasveer, since you have brought out the topic, I would like to have the response from Mrs. Khound also and from the
I'm asking you this question.
No, what is the wrong? Because BPF, as far as I know, is still a part of the BJP ministry. The ministers are still working. Are they not? Have they resigned?
They are.
Have they been removed?
They are.
Okay. Anyway, they are still a part of that ministry. They are part of the NDA ministry.
What is the point? They
are part of the Congress coalition.
We know that.
They are part of the Congress coalition. So
why? They are part of the BJP coalition.
No. Then in the election, they are part of the Congress coalition.
They are coalition with both.
So they are in both the sides. So if a poor guy,
but they are not a coalition partner of the BJP.
If a poor candidate decides that I should be this side or that side, how does it matter?
Mr. Kirit Chalia, the BJP argument is that we don't.
There are certain things called democratic protocols. There are things called democratic.
That's a very interesting point. You have to respond. Janki Goswami respond.
You have three people criticizing BJP and nobody dares to dismiss him, and they also don't resign. Has this happened anywhere in any democracy except
answer, respond.
And let him also make public his all phone calls of
and
last 7 days.
They become part of the coalition.
let's talk about whatever is in the public domain. Yes, please respond, Janki. This is a very interesting point posed by Kirit Chalia.
They have decided not to walk out. We have no issues over them staying or them going out because we have already made an alliance with another regional identity, as I have already said. Another thing is,
let me ask you a question.
As there are democratic protocols, there are also democratic decisions.
Let me ask you a question.
There were some members from the BPF who had joined us earlier. Maybe there was late realization in case of this candidate.
Goswami, would you have been happy if the BPF ministers would have walked out?
It is very difficult for me to comment on this. We never said anything to them. We wanted, it is very clear that it does not make much difference to us now. Because we have already made an alliance with another partner. So they are welcome to stay or they are welcome to go out.
But they did not work out.
We have already given them indications that if they
They
want to
did not
go
work out,
out,
unfortunately.
we have already given indications to them that
may
if they
get
want to
come,
go out,
after the elections,
if they want to go out, they can go out.
After
They have
elections,
chosen
they
not
want
to
But then
go out.
creating this situation of fear psychosis and alluring, influencing candidates is also highly condemnable. This is really unfortunate for our democracy.
It is not because of fear.
I'll add one more point.
Very quickly, I am running out of
It is
time.
not because of
Just
fear
one more point.
psychosis in any way.
BPF is a very unfortunate party. They were kicked out from the ministry by Congress government. They were not kicked out, but they somehow they are in a hostile situation with the present BJP. They are in a very comfortable position with Congress now. It will be very interesting to know what will happen later.
A lot of people are saying that they have come back to their original ally, that is the Congress.
With
Anyway,
Congress, it's a very accidental alliance as of now.
Jaideep Biswas, final comments, 20 seconds to you. What is going to happen in the Barak Valley? Final comments.
I'm not a soothsayer, so I can't say in number terms. But all I can say
we
is
are
that
semi-soothsayers.
All I can say is that the ball is. This is a different ball game for the BJP this time around. This is indeed a different ball game. So they are not likely to improve from what they did last time around. This is the thing I can say. And just if you allow me another 5 seconds, I'd like to add, because this is though not my domain, but whatever I have heard from all of you on this entire BPF imbroglio and the BTAT imbroglio.
Very quickly, I have no time.
The last thing is that the politics sense morality, sense ethics can do real danger to Assam, more than the danger Ajmal has brought in by throwing the Gamosa. So let's all work for a kind of a political culture.
Okay. Point noted. Final comments. Last word to you, Rajiv Hendik. 20 seconds. I am running out of time. No time at all. Yes, Rajiv Hendik.
Yeah, BJP will have to fight. There will be very tough fight at Patharkandi, Sonai, Barkhola, Katigora, Mongoldo, and Roha. BPF may lose Paneri, and Nagaon will also go for a very, very tough fight.
Okay.
AGP may lose Bahrampur, we don't know, but that will be a very, very historic, battle to look out for. Difu, Haudaghat, Lamding, these are the other three constituencies, which will be very, very keenly contested, and we won't be surprised if the difference is only very, very wafer-thin.
Absolutely. Even in 2016, there are several constituencies where the difference or the margin of victory was very, very small. At the end of the day, it has been an interesting second phase where there has been brisk voting. Estimates put it that the turnout was around 80%. We'll have to wait and watch for a final figure from the Chief Electoral Officer's office, or for that matter, the Election Commission. I thank all my panelists for participating in this engaging discussion and the viewers for watching the show. Good night and goodbye.
And thanks.